Hi guys, Tim Baker here, and I want to talk about something. Hyperhidrosis, excessive sweating. Do you have it? I do. Alright, so basically my armpits sweat like crazy when I was in high school. When I was going through puberty, I sweat all the time. I wore hoodies. It would be 100 degrees outside, and I would wear a hoodie because I didn't want people seeing how bad I was sweating. And I'm wearing a dress shirt right now, and I'm still sweating. It's not too bad right now, but if you can see that mark right here, that's where it went down earlier. That's where my deodorant was. And I don't know if you guys can see this shade up here, but this is how bad it was. So it went from here all the way down to that mark in the back up, and right there. Now it's drying, but basically when I was in high school, I sweat so much that I went to the dermatologist and they put me on pills, deodorants, antiperspirants, all these different things, and they never worked. So I took it upon myself to look it up, look what hyperhidrosis is, and see what other people are doing, see different things that people are using to help treat their sweating. So I have something called Certain Dry. Now I've never used this one before. I used to use something called Dry Sol. I used Dry Sol at night, and the only way you could get the Dry Sol was by a prescription or in my link below, because it's a Canadian product, so you can get it from like Amazon, and I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to get the Dry Sol or the Certain Dry. I can't tell you about the Certain Dry. I just ordered it because I started sweating again, so I ran out of my Dry Sol and they were out of stock on the Dry Sol. So I got the Certain Dry to see how this one works. But basically with the Dry Sol, you put it on at night before bed. And when I did it wrong. You're only supposed to do it like a couple nights a week, and that's it. So with the Dry Sol, if I actually had Dry Sol instead of the Certain Dry, what I would do is tonight I would put the Dry Sol on right before bed, a little bit, not a lot, because if you put too much on, your armpits are gonna burn. So the very first time I used it, I was probably 17 years old, and I could tell the very first time I used the Dry Sol, the next day my armpits were not sweating nearly as profusely as they were the previous day. So that night again, I went home and put on some more Dry Sol, and that's where I fucked up. My armpits just started burning really bad, and I couldn't sleep. I got out of bed, I jumped in the shower, I was trying to get it all off because it was just burning. It had the, I think it's called aluminum chloride or aluminum hydrochloride or something like that. But basically those things clog your pores, and they help you stop sweating. So when I was in high school, the Dry Sol I would use like once a week after the first session. Like I would use the first week I'd use it twice, second week I'd use it twice, the third week I would use it once a week from there on out after that, and that's all I would need. I'd stop sweating. And then I went months without ever having to use it again. So I'm starting to sweat again a little bit. I don't know, there might be something going on in my mind or something. I don't know if I'm stressing out about stuff, but I bought the Dry Sol, and I'll put it on tonight, and we'll see if it works. But I know 100% for a fact that if you get the Dry Sol instead of the Certain Dry, that the Dry Sol will work. Just make sure you don't put too much on because it'll burn. But put it on right before you go to bed, and then wake up in the morning, do your normal routine, put deodorant on, do your normal routine in the morning, and trust me, you get the Dry Sol. I don't want to promote this because I've never tried it, but the Dry Sol, I know 100% it will help you. The only reason I couldn't get it is because it was out of stock, but I wanted to make a video about it to let you guys know that I suffer from hyperhidrosis, excessive sweating. Typically people sweat in their palms, their lower backs, their feet, or their armpits, sometimes their neck. Those are the most common areas for hyperhidrosis. So if you want to eliminate that hyperhidrosis, the excessive sweating, then visit that link in the description. It'll take you to Amazon. You'll get, I'll probably leave a link for both Certain Dry and the Dry Sol, but I definitely recommend getting the Dry Sol because I know firsthand it worked amazing for me. And when I was sweating excessively, it was so embarrassing. I didn't know what to do when, all the way down there. So just try it, see if it works, and be careful. Good luck. Links in the description.